Hi, my name is Falcon and today we're going to be doing some closed guard fundamentals, starting with some attacks. Then we're going to look at some defences for those attacks, some passing, and we might finish off with a bit of braking, but we'll see how we get on. We're going to start off with the omoplata. Now again, we'll just come pocket grip, grip in the collar, feet set apart and into a scissor position. Using this to kick off the hip, we're going to flash around, getting our knee behind his shoulder crease, like so. Sit up, grab the hip so he doesn't roll over. And from here, our legs go to a 90-90 position. Control the wrist, get it onto your chest, and hips forward to the finish. Now the fundamental concept of the omoplata is very simple. I have to get the crease of my knee behind Donovan's armpit. As long as I can do this and maintain his posture, the submission should be relatively easy to get, but it is a difficult maneuver to pull off. The main thing that I have to watch out for starting off is the grip. So as he started off, precisely right, same side grip to my arm and my collar. If I don't address this grip, I'm in trouble. So to stay safe, I have to 2-on-1, strip it, keep my posture. He gets there and he's quick about it, starts to come off. If I can loop, even with him gripping my sleeve, it's all good. Sprawl out onto the knee, C-grip his bottom leg, and we can just step around for the pass. When looking at the triangle, we are going to take a sleeve grip one side, collar grip on another side. This time I'm going to get into the scissor position on the reverse way. So whichever side you've got a collar grip, you're going to have that knee slide across the waist. The leg on here is going to shoot into the hip, and then I'm going to come out, over the top of the arm, over the top of the neck, and I can lock up from here. If I need to make it a bit tighter, I'm going to use this arm, shoot directly under his hip, and submission should be on just by squeezing the legs. At that point, chopping on the knee. Once you've wrapped, just bring that gap there to nothing. We want to make sure that our opponent cannot posture up. Posture is going to be the main point of defense for a triangle. If it's already locked in, the next thing that you need to worry about is their maneuverability. If you can stand, you can probably walk around to the top and free yourself. You can try to put your knee on someone's neck. Not very pleasant, but IBJJF legal. And we'll cover that now. I'll walk you through my method. So, this side goes into the opposite collar. Good. Now you're going to go into a scissor position with your legs. Separate feet, go down. Very good. This leg is going to come knee over the top of my arm. So on the outside, not the inside. Good. And then from there, all you're going to do is bring the hips in and shoot this leg up over my neck. There it is. So at this point, I need to address my posture immediately. This is the danger position. This moment, before he manages to lock up, is my safe point. If I can get a grip into his leg, and I get a nice frame here, this is going to save me. I sit straight up, get my posture, I'm relatively safe. He can still attack, but it's not as effective. So, main point is once he's got into a position where my posture is broken, so go for it, get right into the final position where he's on them. I'm about ready to go out. Same thing. I get my grips, this still won't save me, stay locked, stay tight. If I come up and I bring my knee on his chest, I'm then pretty safe, if you can notice the difference in my voice. All I need to do is posture. So I'm going to go through both points of defense and go straight through to the finish. So number one, posture. Good, sweet. I'm done. A person can escape if they can keep their posture, and as long as they can stand, they have a way out. To take that away from them, get an underhook with the same side as whichever leg's chopped down across the neck. And in the event that they have postured up, got a knee on you, it's time to let go of the position. But one more time. Collar grip, sleeve grip. Unlock the legs. Coming into a scissor position. Foot goes into the hip. We hip out, come knee over the top, rotate, under the arm, under the leg. We keep this grip the entire time. We stay tight, we block that and rotate around. This is stopping him from stepping up. This is stopping him from posturing. Squeeze. Cool. And that just about covers the triangle. Okay, so the Kimura is a downwards isolation of the rotator and the shoulder. So by doing this motion, blocking the elbow, moving the wrist backwards, we're putting a lot of pressure onto internal rotation. There's one muscle responsible, tiny muscle. If you get two arms on one, it's a very effective submission. So, start off, collar grip, wrist control. The reason that I have both, this stops him from keeping posture, and this just stops his arm that we're trying to attack from going away, so we isolate the arm. When we open our legs, it's very important to pull and sit up. The motion of bringing him in as I come up is important just to give me that leverage onto the elbow. So as I bring my arm over the top and I sit back, the elbow is now straight to my sternum. I grab my own wrist, grab his wrist. As I hip out slightly, I relock up my closed guard, keeping it nice and tight. Should be somewhat uncomfortable. And from there I just gently rotate for the tap. So with any submission that's joint based, the main points that you have to consider are isolating the other parts in that movement chain. So for attacking the shoulder, you have to make sure that the elbow and wrist are both isolated. The wrist directly controls the rotation of the arm. The elbow just means that you have control of the wrist. So my main points of defense. Number one, always address the grip. If I see a grip has ever come up onto my lapel, I need to deal with it ASAP. Even if he's controlling my hand here, keep it nice tight. If I can come down a little, because my posture is broken anyway, I just have to 2-on-1 control, rip it off, sit back up. Number one defense, because as long as his grip isn't on me, I can use my grips to stop him from sitting up towards me. So most importantly, if I don't address that, and he does sit up, and comes in, main thing I have to do immediately is try to, you guessed it, swim under the leg and block the far side hip. If I do this, I'm going to C-grip into his leg, step over. And from here, try to submit me, Donovan. He's got nothing. So he's gone for the setup, haven't addressed the grip. He breaks, and from here, my hand swims under his leg, gripping his hip. And my other arm is just going to C-grip his leg as I come down. Now, same thing, you're going to spool out, just step over, and if he tries to hold on to the grip and submit, there's nothing there. So main points, make sure you're breaking your opponent's posture when attacking. As you come over, reaching past his elbow, grabbing the wrist, you want to be bringing the elbow straight into your sternum. And lastly, when you're starting to come back down, hip out, and then when you relock your closed guard, then make the body turn. You're not trying to muscle it, you are trying to turn with your entire torso. Gripping into the collar, gripping onto the arm. We break. As we bring him in, sit up, shoot this over the elbow, grab our own wrist, grab his wrist. Hip out. Coming to the side, relocking my closed guard, keeping it tight, rotating the upper body. The attack concept of an americana is the exact reverse of the Kimura, as you might guess. 2 on one limbs, isolating an elbow, except this time you're pointing it up, putting a bend on the exact same area of the shoulder, except external rotation instead of internal rotation. Let's go through it. Switch to the side. Alright. Cool. So, grabbing into the collar, grabbing into the hand. As we pull both our elbows in, we heave with our knees. Bang! We take a quick elbow grip, and we're going to switch wrist onto wrist onto wrist. From here, we release our legs, hip out slightly, reclose the guard, and just apply pressure. You try and bend the elbow in with your elbow and push the wrist with your wrist. So Donovan's going to get into the same position. As he hips in, goes to the lock. I want 2 on one with my hands, drag him in, and it's a difficult position to hold your wrists to. So as long as I can keep tight, I can regain my posture. Get me into the same position. As soon as I can feel that lock coming, grip my hands. Bring my elbows in, back to my knees. It's really simple to defend. That's it. So the Americana from closed guard is nowhere near as secure as the Kimura. And the reason being, you have less control over the person. When they have their arm going behind them, they're forced into flexion. They have to put their body forward. When it's extended, the body can move in almost any direction to try and alleviate that. The shoulder is a mobile joint. You have so much more mobility this way than you do this way. So that's why it's my least favorite closed guard submission. But it is there. Actually, what is the armbar? The armbar is when you put external pressure behind an elbow, so right behind the hinge, the fulcrum of the hinge joint, and you're just extending from the wrist. And that will make it hyperextend, and you'll get a break. So the only point with this specific armbar is that it's reactionary. It's from a somewhat more realistic thing. People generally won't stay postured down when they're in closed guard. It can happen, we'll address that. But if we go collar grip, sleeve grip, we've got a nice pocket grip here with the sleeve, and we go to pull in with the knees, wait for the response, come out. This one goes straight onto the hip, foot into the hip. We come up, we chop down under the armpit. We go to push the head away. We've kept this nice grip. We come 2 on 1 control, knees pinched together, feet down to the mat, extend the hips. And that's it. Nice, tight, controlled armbar. So the attacking concept, similar to any joint lock, control the other points of the joint. We control the elbow via this grip the entire time. We control the wrist rather, with this grip the entire time, which allows us to put a break into the elbow. The control we have of the shoulder is less, and that's what we'll exploit for the defense in a moment. So Donovan, if you just get into the same position, please. So, going into the same position. Posture around. Nice. So wrap. Come in, wrap. Sit back. Boom. I'm pretty safe. I've also put both my hands underneath him. Bit difficult to get out of. It's easy to get swept. Better than being submitted. So when Donovan gets me low there, and I'm completely over the top, he's got one arm isolated, and this arm is already in a position where my elbow is compromised. If I don't wrap over the top, and if I don't try to fill the space in my leg as I wrap and sit back, I can. Once he gets my arm out here, my ability to posture up is next to nil. Getting my grip in the collar, getting my grip on the sleeve. Elbows in, pulling in with my knees, back. We get into this position, I'm gripping the wrist, coming, sitting over the top, grabbing that. Now what I'm going to do, hip out slightly, reclose my guard. I'm in a fantastic Kimura position. I'm not going to go for the Kimura. I'm just going to grip the elbow, take the wrist. That's it. Okay. So we've got a collar grip, sleeve control. We're going to pull in with our knees, we pull in with the elbows at the same time. Big pull, bam. We get a nice grip on the wrist. We come out, hips, and relock up our close guard. We're going to take this, replace it with this hand. This just comes to the knuckles of the hand, and all we do is push ever so gently until our partner taps. And that's it. The reason it's going to be brief is because it's the same as the Kimura defense. Go for it. So we're going to loop our hand through the legs. So as he comes out, and I sprawl, he's got enough. If I need to, I can take a head and arm from that. So the wrist can only really be targeted if you're controlling the elbow joint as well. If I freely just try to bend Donovan's wrist, he can put some, you can see it right now, putting a torque in his elbow so he doesn't have to worry about it. You just move the arm around. Main point with the Kimura grip, because your arm comes over the top, you can take away one joint without compromising another one. Yeah, give it a little bit of pull forward. Now, main point is that as soon as you start to pull forward, that's the point where you can go for the legs. So, all you need to do is put your feet in between my feet, push out. That's it. It's ridiculously easy, and so quite honestly, I forget it's there half the time. But the foot splitter is really good. All you're doing is putting a lot of external rotation on the knees and then the crotch, and it's like breaking a wishbone. It's not very pleasant. So one more time. The foot splitter. Get your grips on someone. Give them a little pull in to give them something to worry about. Put your feet in between theirs, and all you're going to do, rotate externally. Just rotate like that, like a window wiper on your car. Give them a pull, get the feet, move it out. Simple. The amount of people that are flexible enough to tolerate that, it's fewer than you might like, more than you might hope. That's the quick foot split. The exact same angle, we're going to just pull elbows, pull knees, break the posture. Open up deep into the collar, come directly under the chin. As we grip, we come underneath our other arm. Posture's up, as a defense. He's not in a terrible position, he's not great. As I extend my wrists up, I then So he's going to get sleeve control, collar grip, pulls me down, breaking my posture. He's then going to feed his hand into my collar, other arm comes underneath. My main defense for this move is blocking his elbows and just trying to stay here. This gives me breathing time. Donovan, put it on, let's count. Cool. So from here, as you can see, it's still on, but not terrible. And as long as I can get my posture, I can address a single grip at a time. And then I'm pretty safe. So even if he goes like full bar, manages to lock up, what will save me is the distance between my chest and his chest. If he gets me down and puts it on, I'm done. Almost instantly. But as long as I can see his elbows and my chest is on his chest, I'm pretty safe. So I'm going to stay tight, pinched in. He goes for the submission, tries to rack it up. As I sit up, deal with the top grip first, bottom grip second. 2 on 1 control. And we're free. Main point is squeezing the elbows while it stops you from being able to lift and stops you from being able to pull. It will still not lessen the initial grip. So if someone goes tight enough, unfortunately this defense won't work. but it is something that is a stopgap measure that will give you just a bit of breathing. And that pretty much covers the cross collar. The choke is elegant, simple, and you can find it in a lot of different positions, not just closed guard. But it's something which you can use anytime your opponent's posture is lowered, and it will be quite effective. So with the loop choke, what we're going to focus on is taking from one side of the collar to the other, and we're just going to block with our far hand. This is extraordinarily similar to a punch choke, going cross-body control this time, and we're going to go with control of the wrist as well. Now, what I'm going to do is break his posture. This time, I'm going to try and bring my elbow in towards his stomach, same as I pulled him with my knees before. This elbow is still going to bring in, same as before. So as we pull, now what I've done with this is it just gives a bit of slack against the gi. It's really going to go cross-body. This is going to be the one which comes across here. So as I bring it in light and I drag, my grip even goes a bit lower. Same as the Ezekiel, we're going to block the back of the head. This time, when we open our legs, we're going to hip out this way. And I'm just going to bring in a nice chop against his neck here. Posture up for me, on, just so they can see. This one is just coming across his neck. Your thumb line should be just past his chin. So when you block, all you have to do is pull and push. So as he's here, and I've got this nice position, I'm going to pull, push, and that's all this. Cross-body control. We go wrist control. This elbow is going to tuck in towards the stomach as we pull in with our knees and elbow back this way on this side and both of those. So we've got a bit of cup on the back of his neck with this hand. We open our legs, we come out slightly, and we reclose our guard. This hand's going to chop into the neck. This one just pulls across the gi. And that's all there is to it. Main points to consider with this choke, same as before, is making sure that you have control of the other person's posture. If you don't control the other person's posture with this, it's going to be difficult, not impossible. So from a defense standpoint, like for the rest of this series, I can't illustrate enough how important posture is for your defense. If ever someone goes in to choke you with, in this case, a loop choke, so Donovan gets set up, cross-body this time with your collar grip. Good. Cool. I've got to address this. Same as always. Whenever something is in my collar, I've got to go 2 on 1, try to take it out. Both elbows in, both knees pulled forward. As I do, trying to break his posture, I'm going to bring one hand to the back of his head. I'm going to break my closed guard, hip out slightly, just enough so I can get this elbow over the back of his head where I've made this space. I'm going to loop my hand in, coming nice and tight. From here, I'm going to throw my leg back over the top, and I can lock up my closed guard. I'm going to grip my own hand, which I balled into a fist, and I just gently squeeze. I don't need too much else. This is not a perfect guillotine because I cannot get his head onto my chest. There are variations which we can go through where we can get his head onto our chest, but these are usually from a somewhat less broken posture. So if I pulled forward but he hasn't managed to get all the way back, I've still got him here. This is actually advantageous because now I can get into a full clinch position and I get what you might call the tie clinch. 2 on 1 control. I'm basically just going over the backs of my knuckles and I'm going to double pull, just head straight down to my chest. From here, I'm going to try and sit up. As I sit up, one hand is going to shoot straight underneath his neck, under the chin. And from there, when I come out, I come back to center. I've got his head on my chest. Get an S grip. From there, it's unpleasant. We've managed to break his posture completely, elbows in, knees in. As he's come to the side, I'm going to block his head, stop him from posturing up with a C grip just on the back of his neck. This hand loops in. Notice my shoulder wraps the top of his head. As I come underneath his chin, a hip out slightly, and from here I ball my fist with my right hand. My left is just going to cup the bottom of my fist, and from there all I do is squeeze. I'm not even pulling up, I just squeeze. Keep everything tight. If he's ever got a grip in my collar, and we're defending, as we should be, address the collar grip first, and you'll be pretty safe to start off with, because he's got to be able to break your posture. So we don't address the grip in the collar, he breaks our posture. Head stays down, he grips in where he should. I'm going to grip behind both of his legs, sprawl back, and from there, I'm going to try and just, from the inside, it's difficult to see, try and get a grip of the outside of their leg. We come to side control. Even if he's got his tightest guillotine on from here, bring your elbow past, point my head, good. Try and stay tight, squeeze away. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Yeah, it's all good. It's got enough. I'll let you do one of those just so you get a feel for how much you actually did it. Good, grip on the wrist, grip on the collar, break the posture, block the head. Now bring this straight through past my chin, even further, even deeper. Good, and from there all you're going to do is hip out slightly to break my posture even more. Good, lock back up, and then you squeeze in and up. Next to nothing. Really tight. So the guillotine, depending on where you manage to set the head, if you manage to block the head with your chest and rotate forward, it's going to be directly across the throat, and people will most likely be coughing afterwards because you're blocking their air supply. If you get the same position which Donovan just did, you do manage to go past both carotids, and it will be a blood choke. You'll probably just go to sleep if you don't tap.